Hello everyone, welcome back to Tea Time. Today is my first video with actual Moroccan mint tea that I made myself in my home, which I just moved into 2 days ago, which is pretty exciting. I ended up going with my host mom's home, so she and my host father are my landlords. Um, and I went with this one because it's a pretty big size. It's got a private roof, which is one of the biggest things. It's really close to downtown, and it's got a lot of windows, and I like the layout. It's its own home. There is neighbors downstairs, but um, a lot of the other ones were, in apartment buildings, so I'd have several different neighbors. Um, so it ends up working out for a lot of reasons. I'm gonna hold off on actually bringing you around to see it until next week or whenever I do my next video, for two reasons. One, because Peace Corps hasn't actually given me the money to furnish it yet, so everything that I have here was just on the money that I already had saved up from my 4 months here that I just haven't used. So it's decently furnished. I have most of the things that I need, um, really all of the things that I need, but some of the things that I want, like a desk, or some things for my porch, my roof rather. I don't have yet, so I'm gonna hold off for that reason, and because with that video, a lot of volunteers do like a Peace Corps Cribs video, which is a popular one for people that are coming into Peace Corps in a certain country and they want to see specifically how people live. And so I want to make that a little more professional of a video and try to do some editing on it. And I just don't have all the time right now because I'm going to teach a class later today. I'm actually taking over one of the other volunteers' classes. So I haven't started my own classes yet. But I am getting a taste of what it's like to teach mixed level classes, which is actually not something that we were trained to do, and it seems to be very hard, which makes sense. I mean, you've got people that speak really well and people that are just beginning. And so how do you have all those same people in a class? Luckily, there's a lot of videos and tools online, with ESL teachers, English as second language teachers, that deal with that issue all the time. And so I'm going to go off that. So I have to do that later today. I was going to meet another volunteer, so I just wanted to do a video really quick, just because I haven't done an update in a while. And I think this is how I'm going to do the updates, is just whenever I have the time. I know I said I'd do one a week. Clearly that's not happening, and I don't want to feel compelled to do that, to just throw out something every week. I want it to be meaningful. And this week, my aunt, actually, shout out to my Aunt Carolyn, asked me to do a few different things, but the one thing that seemed pretty easy to do was a video on my culinary experiences here so far. And so I've brought a few visual aids, just very few, what I had in my kitchen already, which is not a lot, but yeah, just to describe what meals are like here and how it works. So I'm going to move this over a little bit, and bring out my first item. And this is a staple in Moroccan cuisine, and it's bread, khubz to be specific. This is the only, I think this is the only kind of bread that they refer to as khubz, but it's with every meal basically. So breakfast is usually khubz and cheese and olive oil or honey, sometimes jam, and then lunch is almost always, basically always, tagine. And tagine could be a variety of things. I don't have a tagine with me. I haven't bought one yet. I'm not sure. I probably will. Yeah, I will. Just because it's what Moroccans are used to. I don't need one to cook. But what's nice about them is that it's like a clay pot. It's actually called a tagine. And so it's got a bottom and then a sort of, if you look it up, Tajin, and then maybe an E at the end. You'll see. But it's got like a cone top, And basically it works like a slow cooker. So you put it on a light heat, and it slow cooks whatever's in it. So common things in tagine are potatoes and carrots. Turnips are pretty popular. You've got different kinds of zucchini. Um, Sometimes there's like a pumpkin equivalent. It's not really a pumpkin. I haven't seen like a pumpkin here, but it's a gourd of some sort. And then some sort of meat. So you've got like beef or chicken or different things. They also do, which is not my favorite. It's like, I'm not sure it's intestine or stomach. They use all of the parts of the animals here, which is great, but not always my favorite. um, but it's like a holiday thing where they take it and they do like roll it in spices and then they dry it, and they dry it for a while, and it's sort of like a, I don't want to say a fritter, but it's like a rolled up, sort of spicy. The spices are really good with it. Meat thing. I don't remember the name of it. Or there's tagines with plums. So there's different kinds of tagines. They use a lot of the same spices though. So I've got one of those spices is cumin. You have it in the States. We don't really use it a lot there. I mean, I don't know if if whoever's watching, if you guys cook a lot, but here it's basically pepper. They have pepper, but it's viewed as like kind of spicy. And this really, if you go to a restaurant, if you want salt and pepper, they'll give you salt and cumin, and it is good. It's I don't know. It's sort of like smokier and earthier than pepper is, but it does provide some of the same flavor. Um, so that's very common in tagines, as well as turmeric. Like basically always there's turmeric in tagine, so there's like a yellowy tint to it. And you eat the tagine only ever with your right hand. You do not use your left hand. Basically in the center of the table, well, I don't really have anything here to show you, but the center of the table goes the tagine, and everyone gets their allotment of khubz. You can ask for more. There's always more khubz. And you break it apart, and then you use that as your utensil. So you grab the tagine, with the bread there, and scoop it all up, and then eat it only ever with your right hand. And so there's never in the middle, and then usually, especially for lunch, is the big meal. So breakfast is like a small individual meal. You don't normally have breakfast together. Lunch is the big one. So usually that there's some sort of salad on the side. It's like a small plate. Maybe there's like, depending on how many people there are, there's like 4 maybe small plates scattered around, and so those go in between people. And so basically you eat off of your side of the salad, or the vegetable mixture. I mean, there's a number of different like side things that they'll do. Again, usually with khubz, even if it's salad, a lot of people will eat it with the bread. And same thing with the tagine. Basically, if it's a circular thing, and you get your slice of it. So you don't move into the other person's slice. Everyone gets their own little triangle of the tagine. And same thing goes with the plates that go around the side. You get your own half of it, which is, I mean, it's cool. It's a cool little thing. It definitely takes some getting used to not reach for food with your left hand. If it's on your own plate though, so if you bring tagine or salad or whatever onto like your own individual plate, which isn't very Moroccan, but you can do it. Also, they usually have a plastic thing that goes over the table, which they wipe off after every meal, and so they actually just put the bread and different things right on that, like the bones of meat or fruit. I mean, a lot of things can just go right on the table. And you can touch that with either hand, it doesn't matter. If it's in your personal space, everything goes. But when it's the communal dish that it's eaten out of, it's only ever the right hand. Um, so other things that are essential here, this is kind of a fun one, is laughing cow cheese. It's huge here. It's like, this is cheese. They don't really have, I mean, they do have in bigger cities, and it's more expensive. But in like bigger supermarkets, they'll have like normal cheese. But this doesn't need to be refrigerated necessarily. Um, it's nice and neutral, so you can do it savory or you can do it sweet, so you can mix it with like a jam or something. It sounds like I'm trying to sell it to you, and actually, I really do like it now that I'm here. But this is a sort of cheese that you'll have with breakfast probably. So you'll unwrap it, and then you put it in the middle of your little plate, and then you put olive oil or honey or jam on it, and then you basically like take a little piece of it with the olive oil or the jam or whatever, and you eat that with the bread. It's actually it's a nice little thing. It's a great little snack, whether you're doing it with the jam or the olive oil. Um, I've come to really enjoy it a lot, and it's probably something that I'll bring back to the States with me. Not physically, we have it there, but just to do that as a little snack, it's actually nice and convenient and filling, especially with the bread. Um, right. So the other thing that's pretty important here is olive oil. My grandma asked me if they had olive oil here, which is funny because they're a huge olive producer. It's like such a staple food. So like not only do they have olive oil, but like it's a huge part of the culture and the cooking. They do have butter, but well, in my limited experience, that's usually like if you're in a rural area and you know somebody that has a cow and makes butter, then you'll have butter. But I don't see it used in homes a lot, unless that's the case. Not that I've been in a lot of homes, so I can't know for sure. I'm sure other people do use butter, but olive oil is typically what you go to for cooking. Another thing that's really big here is dates. They produce a lot of dates. It's historically very important in Islam. Muhammad used dates to break the fast during Ramadan. Um, so it has sort of a cultural significance, and there's many different kinds of dates. There's a date festival, which I think is not terribly far from me. I think it's a little bit north of where I am, um, in the Irashidia region. So I'm in like the Ouarzazate province, and it's a little bit north of me, I believe. Um, so yeah, but in general, I would say that there's a pretty limited amount of things that Moroccans eat. So like breakfast is always that. It might have eggs. Maybe it has some different types of bread things. One of them is called bagrir, bagrir, probably a better pronunciation. And it's like a spongy pancake. It's really good. They put butter on it. I haven't had it here since I've been in Ouarzazate in a bigger city. I had it a lot back in my other site, and it was really good. And then you could do that with jam, maybe. And then there's what's called milwi. It has a different name other places, and I don't remember it. But that's more like, I would say, kind of like a tortilla or a pita, but a little bit oily. And that's commonly eaten by itself or with what's called amlou, which is like a mixture of oil and it's like peanut butter. It's like a more oily sort of dippy peanut butter. And it's got like almonds in it and other sorts of nuts, not just peanuts. I'm not even sure if it has peanuts at all, to be honest. I don't eat it a lot. I haven't seen it a lot, but I know that it's another big thing. But yeah, there's other than that, like common dishes. There's harira, which is often eaten with dates. So it's like a soup, and you could even put the dates in it, which is actually pretty good because dates are sweet, but they're not too sweet. Um, so it adds another element to it, but it's sort of like our chicken soup. It's like a staple, it's what you want when it's cold outside. It's a red. I don't know if it's tomato based or if it's just spices that make it red. But it doesn't really taste very tomatoey. I mean, it tastes like there is tomatoes in it, but it's got a lot going on. There's usually chickpeas in it, meat, maybe like a noodle of some sort. So that's a pretty big staple food. You've got lubia, which is beans. It's usually just beans in a sauce, um, which is pretty common. If you go to a restaurant here, though, like those are the things you find. You'll find tagine, you'll find lubia, you'll find maybe harira. You can definitely find like sandwiches. Fries are pretty big here, so they'll even do fries on tagine, which is oftentimes eaten with mayo, which I'm like, yes, I love that. I'm in a culture that eats fries with mayo because I love mayo, and I like fries and mayo. I mean, I use other things too. I don't just use mayo. And usually the fries have like a turmeric or some sort of spice on it as well, so it's got sort of a more complex flavor. But yeah, you might find fries. Pizza does exist. It's Moroccan pizza. Oh, well, there's pizza, which is, pizza like you'd expect, but it's Moroccan, so it's not like, it might not be a red sauce. It might be like turmeric or something, a different sort of sauce as the base. But then there's what's called Moroccan pizza, or fat bread is the direct translation. I can't remember how to say it. But basically it's like bread stuffed with like peppers and maybe tomato, olives. Oh, olives are another big thing here. I don't have any olives. I should go find an olive vendor, because there's so many different kinds of olives and they're so good, especially with like the laughing cow cheese, or just with the bread. Can be really, really good, but it's not. I mean, apart from like the variety, and there's tons of variety in the tagines, like different sorts of vegetables and whatnot. There's not tons of variety there. The other big thing, this will be the last thing I talk about because we're running a little long already with the video, is couscous. And couscous is done basically by every Moroccan family every single Friday, basically. I mean, like, some families will not do it sometimes, but it's like couscous, like Friday is for couscous. And it's so good. Like, I really, really like couscous day. I have to learn how to make it one day. But they use like a traditional, it's like a big pot, and then it's got a top part on it that the couscous goes into. So I think it's like a boiler. And then they put a cloth over the top of it so it like steams it. Super good. And then they do a sauce with it. It's usually like a yellowy sauce, but it's got a different flavor. Oftentimes the meat that's served with the couscous is what makes the sauce. And then just a bunch of different vegetables on it. And so that's the same thing as a tagine. It goes in the middle of the plate. Everyone gets, or of the table rather, everyone gets their own little square of it. Couscous is not eaten with khubz. It's one of the only things that you don't eat with khubz. Usually people go right in with their hand and make a ball out of it and then just pop it into their mouth. I have not tried that yet. Usually it's very hot, and I don't think that I would want to try that, just because I don't think I would enjoy it that much. They always give me a spoon anyway, and I'm more than happy to use it. Yeah, so those are some of the culinary experiences I've had. I'm excited to bring some things back. I haven't really tried to make a tagine yet, so once I get a tagine, I did buy some sort of like tagine vegetables. So I'll do that one of these days and try my hand at it. But yeah, that's about it. If you had any other questions about Moroccan food, let me know. Until then, thanks for joining me for tea. And my next video, hopefully I will show you around my completely furnished house. Hopefully. All right. See you guys.